Okay, so this is the final component for Chapter 8, which looks at an area called nominal and effective interest rates. And we'll talk to you through the difference between a nominal and effective interest rate. So compound interest rates, they're usually quoted as annual rates or interest per annum. Now, we refer to that as the nominal interest rate for the investment or a loan. Sometimes that annual rate may be what's presented and what's quoted, but the actual interest can be calculated and paid according to a different time period, such as monthly. So the time period after which compound interest is calculated and paid is referred to as the compounding period. So what does that mean? The terms of the compound interest loan or the investment are usually quoted as a nominal interest rate and then followed by a compounding period. So we're normally told what's the annual rate of interest, and then we're told in the same question what the compounding period is going to be. So let's have a look at what that looks like. It needs to be assumed that there are 12 equal months in every year, even though we know that months have different number of days. 4 quarters we know is what each year is worth, and a quarter has 3 months in them. When we talk about fortnightly compounding periods, we're talking about 26 in 1 year. There are 52 weeks in a year. Even though there's slightly more than that, we know that we calculate 52.
52.09 to be exact. Yes.
2.09, okay. And 365 days in a year, except for a leap year. So the nominal interest rate is converted into compound interest rate by dividing by each of those numbers. So if we have a look here, we have an investment account, and we're told that it pays an interest rate of 3.6 per annum. Now, we're asking that you convert this interest rate to a monthly rate, a fortnightly rate, and a quarterly rate. So the first one, we're just dividing by 12, the second one by 26, and the third one by 4 to get our interest rates. So the effective interest rate, as a general principle, the more frequently interest is calculated and added to your investment, the more rapidly the value of your investment or your loan increases. So what does that mean? The more compounding periods, the more the value of the investment or loan will increase. So if we have a look at that as a table, we have an
talk
interest
about 5,000 at 4.8% per annum
and then compare it if
yearly,
we change
monthly,
those in terms of the compounding periods.
So if we have a look at this, the principal investment is 5,000, the interest rate is 4.8%. That's the yearly amount, that's the quarterly amount, and that's the monthly. So
that's all come from
the month, that's the quarter, and that's the whole year. So if we only looked at it for a year, we're going to get it's going to grow to that amount.
So our interest for that year is 240 if it's only compounded once. If it's compounded per quarter,
4 times a year, and there's our interest.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yep, we get 244.35. And then if we're compounding monthly, there's going to be 12 compounding months where we're getting paid, and we're going to get that. So what would you invest in, Miss? Monthly?
I would invest that per month because I've got a better return in terms of my interest.
Now, Miss, this is what we're talking about, nominal and effective. So nominal was the 4.8% at the start, but the effective interest rate after 1 year is 4.8, same. After, if we're doing it in quarters, it's 4.81.
So it's increased?
Yeah, so that's the effective interest rate. And then if it's monthly, it's also increased again. 4.91% is the effective interest rate, whereas they nominated to be 4.8. But no, I want it monthly because I'm going to get a better interest rate for that.
So if we did another column and it was fortnightly, we would expect that the effective interest rate would be higher. And again, it would be higher again if we went to weekly or daily.
Yeah. And the interest
because
rate.
Because it happens more often.
And you'll notice it gets closer to 5, doesn't it, every time you go up that way. So as you can see from the table, Miss already explained that to you. It ranged from 240 to 245.35. I would be taking it monthly. Right, the interest earned can be expressed as follows. So
That's basically what you saw in the
what
table.
we just said. So we expect that effectively these are going to be the interest rates after it has been compounding. Okay, so we don't have to talk about that. That's fine. So is there a way to do this via a rule? So the effective interest rate of a loan or investment is the interest earned after 1 year expressed as a percentage of the amount borrowed or invested. So let R be the nominal interest rate per annum. Let R effective be the effective annual interest rate. Let N be the number of times it compounds each year. So you're going to use this formula just by hand. Now we can do this on the graphics calculator. We'll show you that later. But at the moment, you need to have this rule if they ask for effective interest rate, show working out. You've got this rule and then you can do it. So let's look at the example.
So if Brooke decides to borrow $20,000, she's deciding between two loans. So there are often situations where we have to compare two possibilities and see which one's better for us. Now, remembering that she's borrowing, so this is a loan. So we actually want the interest to be lower. So let's have a look. We need to calculate the effective interest rate on these two options. So in option A, first of all, we have to write down what is our nominal rate of interest. So in this case, it's 5.95. Then we have to look at the fact that it's compounding weekly. So we say in that case, N must be equal to 52. Then we can put that information into our rule, into our formula that's given there for effective rate. And we've got 1 plus 5.95 divided by 52 divided by 100 to the power of, close that bracket, and all of that is to the power of 52. And then we have to take 1 away. When we get that value, we multiply it by 100 to get a rate of 6.13%. That's our effective rate, okay, for option A. We do the same for option B, but what's changed here is that R is 6 to begin with, and N is in quarters, so it's 4. So we change that around in our rule, and we end up with an effective rate of 6.14%. Now, because she's borrowing money, she wants to find the lowest of those two rates. So in this case, the lowest one is option A. If instead she was investing that money, she would want a higher rate because it would make it grow faster.
So the key here is investing or borrowing. So if you're borrowing, less interest rate. If you're investing, we want more.
Higher.
Yeah, for our money. Okay, so the amount of interest earned over a particular time period depends on the number of compounds within that time period. In a short period, the number of compounds has very little effect on the total interest paid or earned. However, over longer periods of time, the number of compounds have a significant effect on total interest earned or paid. That works for superannuation because I'm investing my money into a superannuation fund for a very, very long time. Right. How to do this on the graphics calculator. So Marissa has 10,000 to invest. She chooses an account that will earn compounding interest at the rate of 4.5% per annum, compounding monthly. Use the calculator to do this. So I'm going to go through the graphics calculator with you now. When you turn on your calculator, go to calculate, then hit menu, go to finance and interest conversion, and then I want you to select effective interest rate. So we're telling the calculator to find the effective interest rate. So in our example, we had Marissa has 10,000 to invest. She chooses an account that will earn compounding interest at a rate of 4.5% per annum, compounding monthly. So the question is, give us the effective interest rate. So it's 4.5%. So you type in your nominal first, which is 4.5%, and then you put a comma and it said compounding monthly. So you put 12, you close your bracket. I hit 0, so you close your bracket there and you press enter, and it'll give you 4.593 98, 4.6 if you want of effective interest rate. And that's the way to do it.
Okay, so now what you'll need to do is complete exercise 8G, answering all questions there. And as part of your revision process, then you would make a start on the chapter review for chapter 8 in preparation for an assessment there.
That's it. And that's the end of the chapter.